Hi, I'm Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, and you are watching Heavy Consequence, you little bastards.
Before we get into the book, first wanted to see how you're doing. Obviously, all us in the metal world got the news last year that you're battling throat cancer, and then we got the good news at the beginning of this year that you were cancer-free, and we just wanted to see how you're doing, how your health is.
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. It's funny. I was talking to a physical therapist this morning, and he said, "You should be really proud." And I said, "Of what?" Because I didn't know what he was talking about. We were talking about a bunch of different stuff. And he said, "Well, how quickly you've gotten over what you've gotten over and how well you've done." Because my dad had throat cancer, and meaning his dad. And saying how bad it was and how hard it was for him to get over it and how bad his treatment was and how difficult, blah, blah, blah. So I thought, wow, I guess either I'm really dumb or I have a lot of faith and a lot of great people supporting me, which I know the latter to be true, but I doubt the former.
Yeah. And obviously what you didn't know is that you're going to be dealing with this pandemic, and just wanted to see how you've managed your health and band activities, while acknowledging that, you just recently beat a serious disease, and now there's this other infection out there. How have you been managing?
I've been doing good. I've had to stop going to my dojo for training because that's, it's not a good thing for somebody who's post-cancer, especially head and neck trauma, to have any connection with people who have had COVID or anybody who's been in contact with people who've had COVID. Now, whether you believe it or not, I have hope in my fellow man, but I'm not sure that every person who's going into, every place I go into is going to be as faithful as I am about, running into sick people, especially when you're going to a school, whatever. So I've been taking care of myself, working out at home a lot, doing a lot of stuff, eating healthy, trying to sleep, not being able to sleep at all because I'm so obsessed on this new record. There's also, it's been raining so much here. It's so much here that, we don't get to go out and do hardly anything. Good thing is in Franklin, they just lifted the mask mandate, so we don't have to wear masks here anymore. But it's like I said, I've had this really crazy recurring thought that, around the election that there's going to be a bunch of, really big changes that are going to happen. Stuff that's going to have to do with economies, maybe something that has to do with the medical world, maybe, who knows. But I just got a feeling something really mind-blowing is going to happen. And when I was a lot younger, I used to always have this dream. I would get ready to do my biggest record ever. And it's time to deliver it. And the whole world's going, Dave, he's our man. And I've got the record of my life and I'm ready to deliver it. And then, all right, it's Armageddon time. Fuck all your records. This is God, over and out. And so that's kind of what I've been dealing with this whole time, thinking, is this it?
And let's get into the book, Rust in Peace, 30th anniversary, kind of oral history of the album. And I was right away, the first few chapters, you really get into, the drug addiction that plagued both you and Ellefson. And, like talking to you now, and I've met Ellefson a few times. He's like one of the most mild-mannered, gentle guys. And just to think about you guys in that state, it's hard to imagine now the way where you are now. But can you talk about just being in that state? And from what I was reading, it amazed me that you were able to even function as a band and play shows, and just go back and just maybe talk about that time.
Going into the studio, it's hard because you're there. Anxiety is running full bore. Everybody's expecting you. You make a mistake, time's clicking. And it is probably the most pressure you'll experience, even more so than being live and having all those thousands and thousands of faces watching you. When you're in the studio and you make the mistake and the tape stops rolling or the drive stops humming and the lights change colors, and all of a sudden you're thinking, shit, I made a mistake. We had a DVD that we put out called Evolver, which was about the making of euthanasia. And it was funny. Marty Friedman had said something with his incredibly dry humor to Nick Menza. Nick had made a pretty glaring, I should say, mistake. And so we're playing along and we're playing and we're playing and we're playing. And I said something like, Nick. And he goes, fuck me running. And then he said, oh, man, I lost my place. And Marty looks at him and he goes, yeah, well, we thought you were listening. And it's so dry, but such a, and I loved it because Marty was such a dry guy. You never really knew when he was saying something to you.
Yeah. And, early on, you also get into, you were looking to round out the band. It was you and, Junior Ellefson, and then you had Chuck with you. But possibilities of the lineup are enough to make like a metalhead's head explode because, there was casual talk with Slash, and then there was serious talk with Dimebag. And you ever think about like what that album would have sounded like, what the band would have sounded like had either one of those guys joined the group?
Do I think about it? Yes, I do. I think about it a lot. In fact, I didn't really even know what I was dealing with at the time. I knew who Daryl was, but I didn't know who Vinny was. And Junior did. Junior, he's a gadfly. He likes to know everybody, and he's got everybody's cell phone number, everybody's email address and shit. And in fact, he knew about Kiko before I knew about Kiko. So David knew about the guys from Pantera. And when I called up Daryl, he goes, "Can I bring my brother?" And I was like, "Well, who's your brother, bro?" And he goes, "Finn Paul." Wow, what do you fucking mean? It's my brother. And I thought, okay, hey Dave, who's Vinnie Paul? And he goes, "Oh, it's his brother, the drummer." And I got back on the phone and said, we already got a drummer. And he goes, "Well, then I can't come." And I went, "Oh, fuck. Are you kidding me?" I said, "Our drummer's really good." And he goes, "Well, so is my brother. See you later, Mustaine." And I went, "Okay, see you later." Click, bye, see you later. And then I saw him again, and, we'd gone out on tour with them. We've had good times, bad times. There was a time when I was over in Holland, and Daryl had tattooed one of my lyrics on his leg. And it's funny because we were in this shitty club / whorehouse. And, he walked up to me and he goes, "Hey, look, man, I got black screen tattoo down my leg." And I went, "Oh, that's cool." And I looked at him and I looked at all of his crew, and they're all smiling and all their teeth are bright blue, right? And I'm thinking, what is it? Oh, those are all fake teeth because of the blue lights, right? And it was the funniest thing because, I've got a couple crowns myself, but you never really know until you see the invasion of the dentist. These guys all coming in with their blue teeth. Anyways, this is about rest in peace.
Yeah. But the question was more, I think in retrospect, they went on to, record Cowboys from Hell and Vulgar Display of Power. And I think it worked out for the balance of metal.
Sure did.
I was actually surprised to see there was a passage in the book where you and Marty are kind of in this dialogue exchange over writing credits, and you guys left it in there. And I thought that was like kind of a brutally honest moment in the book. I was surprised and both intrigued that you left it in there, where he's like saying, in retrospect, he wished he would have gotten writing credits. You explain why he didn't get writing credits. Can you talk about that? And then that decision to just throw it out there in the book and be completely transparent. I thought that was a really interesting moment in the book.
Hey, I'm an interesting kind of dude when I want to be.
Yeah.
The thing that bothered me was at the beginning of the book, in the beginning of my career in Megadeth's longevity, these guys came into the group and I would sing solos to them and they would learn them and play them and put their spin on it. And I always said, we have three ways we do things: your way, our way, and then my way. We go in and we do a solo. And if I listen to your solo and I don't like it, I'm going to say, you know what? I don't like it. I like this part, but I don't like it. And then we do our way. And then if I listen to it and I say, you know what, it just isn't working. I want you to do this. And then that's my way. And I've always tried to do that way, to really include these guys and give them a sense of ownership and tenancy, because I believe that it's going to make them feel stronger about their performance and their music.
What do you think about Rust in Peace, though, in particular, that resonates with so many fans? What it is about that album?
Well, for a lot of people that came at a young time in their life, that was a very important period of their youth. For a lot of other people, they're capturing on why it was such a pivotal record. There are certain things that we think about that remind us of growing up that we just really dig on. I was saying something to my son the other day, and as much as I don't prefer this beer, we watched a commercial for a Budweiser commercial, and I said, wow, I said, I haven't seen a Budweiser commercial in so long. I said, when I was younger, when I used to do construction, that's what we would do every day at quitting time. We would go get a 12-pack of frozen Buds and well, they weren't frozen, but they were cold. And that was how our day was, for the summertime growing up. And, you just kind of, you think back and then, wow, how many summers went by in a blur? What happened then? And you just think of all these different little weird things that mean so much to you, but that if you don't pay attention to them, they're gone forever. My big sister just passed away, and my middle sister and I have never really gotten along. And I asked my niece the other day, would you please tell your grandma that I said hello and I miss her and I love her? Because I probably won't talk to her, but I said that, and then she got back to me and said, she thought it was nice that you said something, and I thought, yeah, but she's not going to say anything. She's not going to call, is she? No. All right. Fuck it. And it's weird. Sometimes things like that never heal.
Yeah. And then I wanted to go back to Slash's foreword in the book. Mm-hmm. He starts the book off right away, and he kind of says, in retrospect, we're all better off that you and Metallica parted ways, because otherwise we wouldn't have had Megadeth, the genius that is Megadeth. And he went on to talk about you and how much, he loves the band. And I thought that was a powerful way to lead off the book. And do you ever think about that? Like, had I stayed in Metallica, there wouldn't have been Megadeth. And you ever think about how your career trajectory would have gone? Obviously it was a dark time for you at the time when you were kicked out of the band, but now in retrospect, was it like a blessing in disguise, or is there still kind of resentment that it happened?
Well, I'm sure everybody looks back at the one that got away, What's the old saying, a bird in the hand's worth two in the bush. And what's the roadies thing? What is it? A groupie in the back of the bus is worth two in the venue. Something like that. Slash for me has always been a guy that had so much savoir-faire. He's always been very fit, very good looking. He had tremendous star power, was an incredible performer, and he had the humility of a lion in the jungle. And I love him. I'm glad he's my friend. I'm glad we had a chance to get to know each other. And I hope we get a chance to play some more before anything happens to, either one of our jobs where we can't play anymore.
I wanted to flash forward to the present day. You're in the studio, you're working on this album. Obviously, there's been a lot of stops and starts with this album, first with your health and then with the pandemic. Where are you at? And then with Dystopia being so well received, winning a Grammy, is there any pressure on the band to kind of follow that up?
A little pressure, yeah. You know, I always wondered when not that I sit around and wonder about this guy, but I always wondered about Michael Jackson when he got his Thriller record, and when he followed it up with Bad. You know, and how on earth do you follow up Thriller with Bad? That's got to be so deflating. But then we got over here, and immediately the write the record, go out on the road thing became write the record. Oh shit, Dave's got cancer. Let's stop for about a year. And we just kept writing songs while, you know, I dealt with my cancer. And once I beat that, we went out on, and then came back and got back in the studio and started working on my rhythm tracks. And my rhythms are all done. Kiko's are done now, and we're starting to work on our rhythm harmonies and ear candy. And then after that, it'll be singing and solos.